Hi, my name is Adrienne Oliver and I'm with RE/MAX Universal. I'm going to be going over Spring Branch. Some of you will notice that on my Facebook, I'll do hashtag Top Realtor, whatever the city is. So Top Realtor Cypress, Top Realtor Spring Branch. Spring Branch is a place that I currently live in that area. A lot of these areas within the Houston metro I'm super familiar with. I've bought and sold in probably 4 dozen zip codes, including 7 different counties. So I have a lot of knowledge about a lot of different places. Just kind of wanted to share that with people who maybe are not as familiar with the Houston area or just want to hear about the history of the Houston housing market and different districts. So Spring Branch is going to be the first one that I'm going to do about this. So let me tell you a little bit about Spring Branch. So Spring Branch was actually founded as a German religious community in the 1800s. So most of the farmers were actually dairy farmers at the time, and they immigrated in 1830. So it's a fairly old community. It's not new. It's not a new development, but it has changed significantly over the last 200 years. So it started as a dairy farm, German settlements, mostly Lutherans, and then they turned it into like a sawmill. So they took the natural resources within Spring Branch and created a sawmill to provide timber for the growing population of Houston. After World War II is where you see it start to get developed, kind of what it is today. So there's a developer called James E. Lyon, Lyon, that developed Spring Branch after World War II. The eastern part of Spring Branch was annexed by the city of Houston in 1930, while the western part was annexed in 1940. In the mid-50s, there was efforts to create a Spring Branch municipality. That failed. But the offshoot of that is part of where you get these memorial villages. So there's memorial villages, which is a group of 6 independent municipalities that are housed kind of within the Spring Branch district. So that's kind of where that happened and how that happened. So in case you're wondering, how is Spring Branch Memorial Spring Branch, they're very related for a really long time. So that's that. Then there you have an influx of apartment complexes that opened in the 70s through Spring Branch. So it kind of went through that particular area. Then in the 80s and then the 90s, we had an influx of Central American development through it. There's also Koreatown in Spring Branch. So we have stop signs, street signs, many Korean restaurants where you can hear Korean spoken. Then in 2007 is really when it started to redevelop. So you see Spring Branch redeveloping, and mostly the reasons for redevelopment of Spring Branch is that there were old homes. They had large lots, so large amounts of land, and it was cheaper to buy those, tear them down, than to move out to the suburbs. So you see some redevelopment, but it also has great proximity to downtown, uptown, and the energy corridor. So those are some of the reasons why it started to redevelop about 10, 15 years ago. So the district, if you're looking at the proximity, get back to that kind of why Spring Branch has redeveloped, is it has access to Interstate 10, 610, Beltway 8, Hempstead Highway. The proximity to downtown, the energy corridor, and the Memorial District, which is Memorial City Mall, Memorial Hermann, Memorial City Hospital, the Texas Medical Center, uptown, including the Galleria and West Chase. So it's kind of in the middle. The reason that I always say that I love to live here is I'm 20 minutes from everything you could ever want to do in Houston. And in Houston, for those of you who don't understand Houston very well, Houston is a city that is driven by its commute. So we have a large population, so the closer you can stay to work, the easier your life is in general. So let's talk a little bit about the school district. So there is a school district called Spring Branch Independent School District, which serves the Spring Branch areas and the Memorial areas. Remember when I was talking about those 6 municipalities, those are all within the Spring Branch district. It also has a host of private schools. So you have Regis, St. Jerome, St. John the 23rd. You have the Audi School. You have Houston Christian High School. You have the ILM Academy, which is Islamic Education Institute of Texas. You have St. Mark's Lutheran School. You have the School of the Woods. You have all of that as far as public schools and private schools. So you have multiple high schools, elementary schools, middle schools within the Spring Branch district, public and private. The other thing that I like about Spring Branch that a lot of people don't know very well is that we have a lot of parks in Spring Branch. So you have all these areas that are known for their parks. So if you go in town, which I consider in town, inside the loop, which is inside 610, a lot of people like to live there because it's very walkable, right? There's all these parks. I can walk my dog, I can go for a run, etc., etc., etc. Well, Spring Branch has that same feel, but it's a lot more economical and easier on your pocketbook than some of the stuff in town. So I'm just going to mention a few of the parks so that you can kind of get a feel for them and kind of the highlights of what they have. So you have Agnes Moffett Park, which has a swimming pool and a golf course. You have R.L. Cora Johnson Park, which has a bike trail, a playground, an outdoor basketball pavilion, and a lighted tennis court. And then you have the Freed Park Community Center, which has an indoor gymnasium, a bike and hike trail, a playground, and a lighted sports field. So you do have a family feel within Spring Branch. Where I live, I've lived very close to Springwoods Middle School. The fields at Springwoods Middle School this time of year are full of little kids playing soccer constantly. So they do have a very good youth sports program. The Energy Corridor, there's a lot of people who live here from that. And then also the medical field are just some different demographic items that I wanted to share with you. If you have any questions about Spring Branch or any other communities within the Houston area, I'd love to answer them. I love this kind of stuff. I love figuring out why things fit and why things got redeveloped. My name is Adrienne Oliver. I'm with RE/MAX Universal, and I look forward to helping you and your family. Thank you.